Hello, everyone. Would I give you this fear of nothing? I mean, I don't know how to describe this, but God gave me three options, and he personally gave it to me to tell you what was going to happen. So his three options were earthquake in the Philippines, hurricane in I would say Florida or the East Coast, and then there's wildfire in California. It is not my will that anyone dies, but unfortunately, there will be a wildfire in California. It'll be the worst wildfire in history. I don't know how many people will be killed, and I don't know what's going to happen. But God certainly told me straight up that that was my option, and I told him that was going to be the it. That was going to be it. And the worst wildfire is going to be in California. It's going to be the worst wildfire in history, possibly spreading everywhere else. I don't know if it's going to be the deadliest or the most destructive, most expensive, most history destroying, but it's going to be the worst. So I'm assuming deadly. If anyone's living in California, I would basically suggest this to you. God told me that this was going to happen. Now this is going to happen. The worst wildfire is going to happen in America. Worst one in history. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen in fall, I believe. That was his option for this year, and I'm going to stick to it. He told me plainly by his voice. He told me. If you don't believe everything that he told me, I mean, the things they told me came true. And obviously, since the wildfires, I mean, everything they told me is true. And he told me that all these good things about me and all the good things about me. And now he's telling me about judgment on a certain area of the world, which is California. You know how Jesus was. Just look up the Gospel of Matthew, the Gospel of Mark, Luke, and John. See how Jesus really was. You'll be surprised. Just look it up on the YouTube channel. 2003 even specifies what it's like back then. They did a really good job. But no, Jesus is not this loving God all the way through. He is really loving, and it's infinite love. I'm not gonna lie about that. He's infinite love, but he's also justice. He's also supreme ruler, and he's also perfect justice, supreme ruler. He is holy. He is all that. He rules over all. But this California fire, it's gonna be the worst in history. I don't know. It's hard to judge what it's gonna be. I don't really know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be. I don't know. I am not gonna tell you to move from California, but if there's a really dry spot where you are, I would be praying. I would be praying. That's all I would tell you to do. Is really pray. I'm not gonna advise you to actually move from California because I told you this. I'm gonna advise you to pray that you're not affected by this because he will not affect his children. He will affect the world. You know how he was when he cursed the Sapphira and Ananias. You know how he was when he cursed the people in the world who are not his, and how he cursed those who are fled from Egypt and those people in Egypt and all that. He's the same and always the same, and he did that Ananias and Sapphira and to the people in the New Testament as well. People became a curse, and he still does it today. Just remember, if you're wondering about the worst wildfire in history, I'm going to say this to myself. I uploaded this in May, which is quite likely going to be 6 months ago, 7 months ago, wherever it's going to be gone. Or wherever it's going to be. So, to myself, see what happened. Because God is really, he's forcing his judgment against his people. And honestly, there's going to be a hot summer somewhere, possibly in California. Really hot summer. But we also have extreme rain in Texas, but dryness in California. Now, there could have been a hurricane in fall, but then we have the wildfire, like I said. Since he gave me three options, that's what he's going to give it. Okay, so example I want to give you before you start wondering what I'm talking about. When he did this before, and he told me to do it now. When he told me to do it before, and this example of what he told me before, I had had um a meeting like this, the same type of meeting, and he told me that he was going to destroy parts of Florida and the East Coast with a hurricane. This was approximately when the hurricane was just a tropical depression, nothing involved. It was beyond a tropical depression, beyond it was before all of that. But then it became the strongest hurricane to ever hit America. I think the same thing is going to happen to California now. Now that I say it, California is going to be hit hard. This is judgment against California. He told me this is a good choice. California has porn. It has no regard for human safety. It has no regard for children. It has absolute immorality and monstrosity. New England has false prophets. Chicago has no regard for human life, murders. And New Orleans is basically witchcraft. California is just lewdness, but it's also really horrible stuff. Now, if you have any questions, ask me later, but it's going to end soon. But the final